This is SMNI News Channel. Truth that matters.
In the headlines, rescue operations continue in southern Spain after a catastrophic train collision near Ademuz. 39 people are confirmed dead, and authorities warned that toll could rise. Prime Minister SMNI Takaichi has dissolved Japan's House of Representatives. The move triggers a snap election, leaving voters to decide the future of her administration. Political uncertainty in Bulgaria as President Rumen Radev announces his resignation. Radev hinted at a return to politics just ahead of the upcoming parliamentary elections. Mozambique President Daniel Chapo has canceled his World Economic Forum trip to lead rescue efforts in flood-stricken Gaza province. The President and First Lady personally joined aerial missions to oversee life-saving maneuvers. An impeachment complaint has been filed against Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. The formal filing was submitted to the House of Representatives on Monday. Senate President pro tempore Ping Lacson grilled former DPWH Secretary Manuel Bunoan over failed flood control data. Lacson flagged enormous grid coordinates that reportedly complicated the Sumbong sa Pangulo investigation. And finally, a royal premiere in the City of Light. Bridgerton Season 4 premiere in Paris. The new installment promises fans a Cinderella with a twist storyline. I'm Prince Tripoli. Newsline World starts now. For our first story, Mozambique's President Daniel Francisco Charo has abandoned his plans to attend the World Economic Forum to personally oversee rescue operations in the flood-stricken Gaza province. Accompanied by the First Lady, the President joined aerial surveillance missions that turned into emergency life-saving maneuvers. This report from Almar Fursuelo.
From the window of a military helicopter, President Daniel Chapo surveyed the devastation of Gaza province, where the Limpopo River has completely swallowed entire communities. The President and First Lady Guetta Selemane were on an assessment flight when their pilot spotted a group of 12 people, including a baby, clinging to a rooftop. In a dramatic turn of events, the mission shifted to an immediate rescue, with the helicopter lifting the stranded survivors to safety. As the water reached the eaves of their homes, President Chapo, who canceled his trip to Davos, Switzerland to remain on the ground, greeted the survivors personally as they were brought to dry land.
Nós temos irmãos e irmãs nossas que estão por cima das casas. A água está quase a atingir o nível das casas. O que nós estamos a fazer agora é definir prioridades. Queremos salvar vidas primeiro. Tínhamos 12 irmãos nossos que estavam por cima de uma minibase desde ontem. Não matabicharam, não almoçaram, não jantaram, não matabicharam. Estavam quase a morrer.
The situation nationwide is increasingly dire, when at least 103 deaths reported since the start of the rainy season. Gaza province remains the most critical zone after floodgates at the Mizinger Dam were opened to prevent a total structural failure, leading to massive overflows downstream. Over 5,000 homes have been destroyed and major arterial roads are cut off, leaving nearly 200,000 people at risk of displacement. President Chapo has vowed that the absolute priority is saving lives as international aid begins to trickle in the region.
Nós vamos continuar a trabalhar para salvar os nossos irmãos que estão a ir com água. Nós sabemos que depois temos que continuar a trabalhar para trazer tendas, trazer comida e trazer muitas outras coisas.
While heavy rains are expected to ease, the red alert remains in effect across Mozambique as search and rescue teams continue to scour the submerged landscape for survivors. Reporting for Newsline World, Almar Forsuelo, SMNI News.
Bulgaria is facing fresh political uncertainty after President Rumen Radev announced he will resign, while hinting he could soon re-enter politics ahead of snap parliamentary elections. Radev acknowledged mistakes and unfinished goals during his presidency. He delivered a sharp critique of Bulgaria's political establishment, accusing it of serving oligarch interests and warning that democratic institutions were being weakened. Radev pointed out to declining voter participation. Two-thirds of Bulgarians are no longer voting. He said this is a sign of public disillusionment and said the country needed a fundamental political reset. At the same time, he remarked suggested he may be preparing for a political comeback, saying the fight for Bulgaria's future was still to come and that he was ready to lead it with supporters. Radev also warned against what he described a reckless political behavior amid regional tensions, accusing some politicians of exploiting regional instability of political gain, hinting at the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. Once Radev's resignation is submitted and approved, Vice President Ilyana Yutova will take over as interim head of state until elections scheduled for later this year. The move comes as Bulgaria prepares for its 8th parliamentary vote in just 4 years, underscoring the depth of the country's ongoing political crisis. Guatemala is under a state of siege after gang-led prison riots escalated into a deadly wave of retaliatory attacks. President Bernardo Arevalo announced the emergency measure following the deaths of multiple police officers. More of this from Daniela Paulite.
Guatemalan Special Forces wearing gas masks and armed with tactical gear launched a lighting raid on the preventive detention center for men in Zone 18. The operation aimed to retake control of the facility and rescue 8 guards held hostage by members of the Barrio 18 and MS-13 gangs. The riots erupted on Saturday across 3 major prisons, including Renovacion 1 and Praijanes 2, as inmates demanded the transfer of gang leaders to lower security facilities. While authorities successfully freed all 46 hostages nationwide, the victory came at a heavy price outside the prison walls.
Cabe recalcar que ahorita ya se logra el ingreso a solicitud del sistema penitenciario y agentes de la PNC, donde se están evaluando a 8 agentes del sistema penitenciario que estuvieron retenidos durante todo este tiempo.
In a series of coordinated ambushes across the capital, gang members targeted National Civil Police units in apparent revenge for the prison crackdown. At least 7 officers were confirmed dead and 10 others were injured in what the Interior Minister described as a cowardly response by terrorist organizations. President Arevalo has responded by suspending certain civil liberties and mobilizing the military to dismantle the criminal groups responsible.
Hay bochinches en lo que es en los preventivos de supuestamente en Escuintla, en la zona 18, porque le quieren dar comunidad a los pandilleros y como no le están dando su comunidad a los pandilleros, están masacrando a los agentes, ¿va?
As the state of siege begins, classes have been suspended nationwide, and security forces remain on high alert on the streets of Guatemala City. The Guatemalan government maintains it will not negotiate with the gangs, who are classified as terrorist entities both locally and by the United States. Reporting for Newsline World, Daniela Paulita, SMNI News.
Up next, Prime Minister Sanai Takaichi has dissolved Japan's House of Representatives. The move triggers a snap election, leaving voters to decide the future of her administration. And rescue operations continue in southern Spain after a catastrophic train collision near Ademuz. 39 people are confirmed dead, and authorities warn the toll could rise. More news when Newsline World returns.
Isang pindot lang, pwede kang maka-jackpot. Mukhang masaya at easy money lang. Sa murang halaga, pwede ka na tumaya sa online gambling at e-casino apps. Mayroong sabong, slot machines, mahjong, poker at iba pa. Kailangan mo lang ng smartphone, e-wallet at internet. Pero ang aliw na ito, unti-unting nagiging bitag para sa mga Pilipino. Lalo na kung ang paborito mong artista o influencer ang mukha ng app. Mas madaling makaengganyo, diba? Parang safe naman kasi may kilalang mukha. Pero sa likod ng ngiti, sugal pa rin ang itinutulak. At syempre, mas madali ring itago ang pagkalulong sa bisyong ito. Walang pisikal na kasino o pasugalan, walang kaharap, walang accountability, kaya't mas lumalala ang adiksyon. Dagdag pa rito, maraming online gambling apps at walang regulasyon. Sa likod ng mga makukulay na interface at papremyo, nakatago ang problemang bumabalot ngayon sa bansa. Ang pagkalulong ng maraming Pilipino sa online gambling. Pwede maglaro kahit saan, kahit kailan, kahit sino, bata man o matanda, pwedeng malulong. Ayon sa mga eksperto, ang pagkakalulong sa online gambling ay nagdudulot ng matinding stress at anxiety, pagkakabaon sa utang, pagkawasak ng pamilya, pagkawala ng tiwala sa sarili. At tulad ng ibang bisyo, may mga senyales ito tulad ng hindi makapagpigil kahit walang pera, palihim na tumataya, pagpapabaya sa trabaho, pamilya o sarili. Sa bawat taya, may mga taong tunay na kumikita, mga malalaking negosyante at investors na negosyo ang bisyo ng masa. Para sa kanila, perang pumapasok lang ito. Pero para sa ordinaryong Pilipino, kabuhayan at relasyon ang nauubos. At ang masakit, tila matagal itong nahayaan. Hindi ito naging prioridad ng mga nakaupo sa taas hanggang sa sobrang lumala at halos naapektuhan na ang buong komunidad. Ngayon, sa dami ng nalulung at sa laki ng pinsalang naidulot, saka palalong umugong ang mga panukalang batas para higpitan ng online gambling. Gaya ng pagbabawal sa paggamit ng e-wallets para tumaya, pagtaas ng minimum bet, mas mahigpit na identity verification, pag-block ng mga illegal na gambling sites, at bawasan o ipagbawal ang mga ads na target ang kabataan. Maaari itong magmukhang laro lang, pero sa katotohanan, isa itong sugal sa kinabukasan. Ang kita na dapat sa mga pangunahing pangangailangan o ipon na uubos sa sugal. At sa mundo ng online gambling, mas madali kang matalo kaysa manalo. Huwag hayaang sugal ang magdikta sa iyong buhay. Isang paalala mula sa SMNI.
And we're back. Prime Minister SMNI Takaichi has dissolved Japan's House of Representatives, allowing voters to decide whether her administration should continue in office. Valdivina Gracia tells us more.
Japan's Prime Minister SMNI Takaichi has announced the dissolution of the House of Representatives, paving the way for a snap election later this month. In a televised address, Takaichi said the House of Representatives will be dissolved on January 23, calling the move a necessary step.
国民の皆様、私は本日内閣総理大臣として1月23日に衆議院を解散する決断をいたしました。なぜ今なのか、高市早苗が内閣総理大臣で良いのかどうか、今、主権者たる国民の皆様に決めていただく、それしかない、そのように考えたからでございます。日本列島を強く豊かに、今、着手しなければ間に合いません。そのために高市内閣が取り組み始めたのは、全く新しい経済財政政策をはじめ、国の根幹に関わる重要政策の大転換です。
The decision comes amid major policy shifts by her administration, particularly in economic and fiscal reforms aimed at strengthening Japan's future.
解散というのは重い決断です。逃げないため、先送りしないため、そして国民の皆様とご一緒に日本の進路を決めるための決断です。私自身も内閣総理大臣としての進退をかけます。高市早苗に国家経営を託していただけるのか、国民の皆様に直接ご判断をいただきたい。
The Prime Minister stressed that her cabinet will continue governing even during the election period, ensuring continuity in government operations. Framing the election as a turning point for Japan, Takeichi invoked the words of former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, urging to confront the challenges head-on rather than preserve the status quo.
新しい国づくりへと踏み出します。10年前の安倍晋三元総理大臣の言葉が思い出されます。困難はもとより覚悟の上です。しかし未来は他人から与えられるものではありません。私たちが自らの手で切り開いていくものであります。今の日本にまさに必要な言葉です。挑戦しない国に未来はありません。守るだけの政治に希望は生まれません。希望ある未来は待っていてもやってこない。誰かが作ってくれるものでもない。私たち自身が決断し、行動し、作り上げていくものです。だから私は今回の選挙、自分たちで未来を作る選挙と名付けました。日本の未来は明るい。日本にはチャンスがある。皆が自信を持ってそう言える。そう実感できる社会を作りたい。
The snap election will determine whether Prime Minister Takeichi secures a renewed mandate to continue her reforms and lead Japan forward. Reporting for Newsline World, this is Valdivina Gracia, SMNI News.
China's foreign ministry says the country's economy remains a stable engine for global growth. Beijing also highlighted its recent success in combating cross-border fraud in Cambodia. Here's Fatima Nauzil for the details.
Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Guo Jiaquan highlighted a recent survey by the American Chamber of Commerce in China, which noted that U.S. companies operating in China remain optimistic about market growth.
你提到的报道再次表明，中国大市场是世界大机遇，布局中国就是赢得先机，投资中国带来丰厚回报。在华美国企业的成功故事印证了中美之间合则两利，推动中美关系稳定、健康、可持续发展，符合双方共同利益。
Guo added that China's economy under the 15th five-year plan continues to serve as a stable engine of growth and innovation, welcoming enterprises from all countries to participate in its high-quality development.
将继续为世界经济提供稳定的引擎、增长的绿洲和创新的摇篮。我们欢迎包括美国企业在内的各国企业抓住中国高质量发展的机遇清单，共享万亿级市场的超级红利。
The spokesperson also addressed concerns about Chinese citizens caught in Cambodian scam centers, saying that China and Cambodia have achieved significant results in combating cross-border fraud while the Chinese embassy continues coordination with Cambodian authorities.
中国政府高度重视海外中国公民的安全。一段时间以来，中方同柬埔寨积极合作，打击跨境电信网络诈骗犯罪，取得显著成效。中国驻柬埔寨使馆正与检方保持沟通协调，开展相关的工作。
This has been Fatima Nauzil, SMNI News.
Rescue and recovery operations are continuing in southern Spain after a catastrophic high-speed train collision near the town of Adamus collided at least 39 people, with authorities warning the death toll could still rise. Emergency crews worked throughout the night, combing throughout the twisted wreckage along the railway line near Cordoba, where two passenger trains collided on Sunday evening. The aftermath of the accident left overturned carriages scattered across the tracks. Firefighters and rescue teams attempted to cut through damaged train windows to reach trapped passengers. Forensic teams were also deployed to examine the site. Spanish rail operators said around 400 passengers and crew were traveling on two services at the time of the crash. Regional emergency services in Andalusia confirmed at least 122 people were injured, with 48 still hospitalized including 13 in intensive care, among them 1 child. Investigators say the accident began when the rear of a high-speed train traveling from Malaga to Madrid derailed, with carriages crossing onto an adjacent track and colliding with an ongoing passenger train heading from Madrid to Huelva. Spanish authorities said launch has formal judicial inquiry into the cause of the disaster. Spain's Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez visited the crash site on Monday, pledging to uncover the truth behind the disaster and assuring the public there would be no covered up. Sanchez also announced 3 days of national mournings as the country comes to terms with one of its deadliest rail accidents in recent years. When we return, an impeachment complaint has been filed against Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. The formal filing was submitted to the House of Representatives on Monday. And Senate President Pro Tempore Ping Lacson grilled former DPWH Secretary Manuel Bunoan over failed flood control data. Lacson flagged egregious green coordinates that reportedly complicated the Sumbong sa Pangulo investigation. More news after the break.
Madalas ka bang napapasobra sa pag-scroll sa phone mo kahit puro masasamang balita ang nakikita mo? Isipin mo ito. Nakahiga ka na sa kama, nagche-check lang ng phone bago matulog. Tapos, hindi mo na malayan, ilang oras ka na palang nagbabasa at nanonood ng mga balita tungkol sa digmaan, sakuna, politika at lahat ng masasamang nangyayari sa mundo. Nakakaramdam ka na ng kaba at pagod, pero tuloy mo pa rin ang scroll mo. Ang tawag dyan ay doom scrolling. Ito ang habit ng paulit-ulit na pagtingin sa mga negatibo o nakaka-depress na content tulad ng digmaan, krimen o problema sa mundo. Nakaka-stress pero hindi mo pa rin mapigilan. Ayon sa isang pag-aaral ng Texas Tech University, ang sobrang konsumo ng masasamang balita ay nauugnay sa pagtaas ng stress, anxiety at pisikal na sintomas gaya ng pagkapagod at sakit ng ulo. Ayon naman sa Harvard Health, ang doom scrolling ay nagpapataas ng fight or flight hormones tulad ng cortisol at adrenaline na nakakapagpabigat ng isip at katawan. Nakakaapekto ito sa iyong mood, tulog at maging sa mental at physical health mo. At kapag naman puro memes at random na content ang pinapanood mo ng sunod-sunod hanggang sa mawalan ka na ng gana na mag-isip at gumawa ng iba pang gawain, ang tawag naman dyan ay brain rot. Sa Gen Z at tinatawag na internet culture, ang brain rot ay overconsumption o sobrang tagal na panonood ng paulit-ulit, mababaw, magulo o walang saysay na content online hanggang sa parang manhid na ang utak mo. Kapag nasobrahan, syempre, nakakasama. Nawawalan ka na ng focus, nawawala ang motivation, hirap mag-isip ng malalim, parang lutang o foggy ang utak. Masaya sa simula, pero kapag sobra, napapagod ang isip mo. Nahihirapang mag-concentrate at parang lutang. Mas delikado pa ito sa mga bata dahil ang utak nila ay nasa proseso pa ng pag-develop. Kaya mas malakas ang epekto ng doom scrolling at brain rot sa kanila. Maaaring makaapekto sa pag-aaral, pag-iisip at pakikitungo sa iba. Ang higit sa 4 na oras ng screen time araw-araw sa mga kabataan ay konektado sa 35 to 88% na mas mataas na posibilidad ng depresyon, anxiety at stress. Base ito sa isang malawakang pag-aaral sa Brazil. Kaya, maging balanse. Magpahinga sa screen, magbasa, makipagkwentuhan, magdasal, maging present lagi. Alagaan ang iyong isipan. Kung anong itinatanim sa isipan mo, yun ang lalago. Sa kabila ng mga mas modernong kaalaman at teknolohiya, nananatiling matindi ang banta ng HIV sa Pilipinas. Pero Gaano nga ba kalala ang sitwasyon? Ang HIV o Human Immunodeficiency Virus ay isang sakit na sumisira sa immune system ng katawan. Ngunit tandaan, hindi ito nakukuha sa simpleng pakikisalamuha. Hindi mo agad mararamdaman, pero unti-unti nitong pinapahina ang katawan. At kapag hindi naagapan, humahantong ito sa AIDS, ang huling yugto na impeksyon, kung saan halos wala ng panlaban ng katawan laban sa sakit. Patuloy na dumadami ang kaso ng sakit na ito sa Pilipinas. Isang nakababahalang pagtaas. Umabot na sa 500% ang itinaas ng HIV cases sa mga kabataang edad 15 hanggang 25. Ayon mismo sa Department of Health, 56 na bagong kaso ang naitatala kada araw sa bansa mula Enero hanggang Marso 2025. At ang pinakamatinding apektado, ang kalalakihan at kabataang Pilipino. Dahil dito, ang Pilipinas na ngayon ang may pinakamataas na bilang ng bagong kaso ng HIV sa buong Western Pacific region. Isang indikasyon ng lumulubhang sitwasyon. Kaya nananawagan ng Department of Health gawing opisyal at urgent ang laban sa HIV sa pamamagitan ng isang Public Health Emergency Declaration. Kalalakihan ng pangunahing apektado. 95% ng bagong kaso ay lalaki. Mahigit 1/4 ay kabataang nasa edad 15 hanggang 24. Habang wala pang deklarasyon, patuloy ang DOH sa mga sumusunod na hakbang: HIV testing, libreng gamot, self-test kits, at pakikipagtulungan sa DepEd para sa edukasyon sa mga paaralan. Isinulong rin ng DOH ang online patient appointment system para sa HIV patients. Layunin nitong gawing mas madali at mas personal ang pag-access sa libreng gamutan at konsultasyon. Ayon sa schedule ng pasyente, ang HIV ay hindi tulad ng flu. Hindi ito basta naipapasa sa hangin. Ito ay naipapasa sa pamamagitan ng personal na desisyon. Kailangan din nating pagtuunan ng pansin ang ugali, disiplina, at personal na responsibilidad. Isang paalala mula sa SMNI.
Pasasaan pa ang kalayaan kung ang mga alipin ngayon ay sila din naman mang-aalipin bukas.
Ibigin mo ang iyong bayan ng sunod kay Bathala, sa iyong kapurihan at higit sa lahat sa iyong sarili.
Hindi natin mapapalaya ang ating mga sarili maliban kung sumunong tayo na nagkakaisa sa iisang hangarin.
Ang tunay na makabayan ay ang tumutupad ng pagpapabuti ng kanyang mga kapwa, gaano man kaaba ang kanyang katungkulan. Naway magsilbing paalala ang kanilang mga salita upang lalo nating mahalin at tapat na paglingkuran ang minamahal nating Inang Bayan. And we're back. Senate President Pro Tempore Ping Lacson grilled former Department of Public Works and Highways DPWH Secretary Manuel Bunoan regarding the erroneous grid coordinates of flood control projects submitted to the submission sumbong sa Pangulo website. Instead of aiding the investigation, the process was reportedly further complicated by the inaccurate data. Vali Vinagracia reports.
Former DPWH Secretary Manuel Bunoan personally appeared before the ongoing Senate Blue Ribbon Committee hearing this Monday. The initial questioning of Bunoan centered on the alleged erroneous grade coordinates of various flood control projects. Grid coordinates refer to the exact location of a project on a map. These are used to identify exactly where flood control projects were constructed, serving as proof that a project actually exists in a specific area. Grid coordinates are vital for verifying and inspecting projects to prevent ghost projects or fraudulent claims. During the hearing, Bonoan himself admitted that there were errors in the grid coordinates submitted to President Bongbong Marcos Jr. According to him, what they sent to the president was a multi-year programming and scheduling system, which means the data was merely initial information and not yet the actual project data. He claimed this was the reason for the confusion and the difficulty in identifying the alleged ghost projects.
When we submitted this in August 4 of 2024, I know that there has been some differences between the MIPS coordinates and the assist-take plans. And therefore, immediately after we submitted it to the Office of the President, I immediately sent validation teams, actually, for the purpose of getting present, absent status of the 9,855 projects.
After allegedly discovering the incorrect grid coordinates, Bonoan said he immediately dispatched validation teams to verify the projects. He also stated that he personally informed President Marcos about the discovered errors in the grid coordinates posted on the website.
I went to validate myself, actually, where these ghost projects are in Bulacan First Engineering District, so to speak. And true enough, collaboration with members of the officials of that district and the regions, I found out that there had been some ghost projects in that area. And immediately, Mr. Chair, I went to the President, and I was the one who personally reported to him, actually, the potential ghost projects. Let me also clarify, Mr. Chair, that this is an isolated case because there has not been any other report that reached me.
On the part of the DPWH, this was allegedly the reason for the slow pace of inspections in identifying the projects. Due to the incorrect data, the agency reportedly conducted repeated field inspections. Based on the initial field validation of the DPWH, out of 337 flood control projects, 291 were discovered to have incorrect grid coordinates.
Pag mali yung grid coordinates na sinabit, siyempre, lolobo yung ghost projects. Kasi pag pinuntahan yung grid coordinates na mali, wala makikitang project, ire-report na ghost, hindi ba?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So, yung credibility ng sumbong sa Pangulo website will suffer.
Even before the submission to the President, it was also stated that former DPWH Undersecretary Roberto Bernardo allegedly already knew that the data held by Bonoan was incorrect.
I told them to tell to the Secretary na bakit ganun, na bakit naman yung nasubmit po na datos ay ang MIPS data, hindi naman po yun yung actual project construction. Malaki po ang diferensya niyan doon po sa datos ng planning kasi minsan po sa loob po ng isang taon, nagbabago po ang linya ng ating mga ilog eh.
Senator Lacson's temper flared after confronting Bonoan. This followed Bonoan's assertion that the grid coordinates held by Lacson himself regarding a sitio dike in Mindoro were also supposedly incorrect. Lacson insisted that instead of aiding the investigation, the submitted data only caused further confusion.
Alam nyo, Mr. Secretary, i-disclose ko lang, noon ako unang napikon sa inyo. Because you were undermining the work done by my staff.
Reporting for News and World, this is Val Divina Gracia, SMNI News.
Two witnesses claim there is a direct link between contractors Curly Discaya and former House Speaker Martin Romualdez regarding the purchase of a house in South Forbes Park amid the ongoing Senate investigation into alleged anomalies in flood control projects. Angel Pastor has the details.
The witnesses Joy and Maria, not their real names, are both employees of a certain Rico Ocampo, who was a former tenant of the house at number 30 Tamarind Street in the said subdivision. The two recounted the alleged involvement of contractor Curly Discaya in the purchase of a house in South Forbes Park, Makati, by then House Speaker Martin Romualdez. They reportedly received a notice via email from a law firm stating that they needed to vacate the premises before January 31, 2024.
We are working for our boss, Rico Ocampo, who was the previous tenant of 30 Tamarind at Forbes Park. January 29, we were CC'd sa email sa boss namin that we are being evicted. January 31 at 3 p.m. Dapat nakalabas na kami ng place.
On February 1, according to the witnesses, they were introduced by broker TJ Conti of Turnkey Properties to a contractor whom they later identified as Discaya. The two further stated that Discaya was personally present and was even the one giving orders to the staff to expedite their move, claiming the project was under strict deadlines. When they asked if they could appeal to the new owner of the house, Discaya allegedly told them that Romualdez had already purchased the property.
We both asked, baka pwede po namin pakiusapan yung may-ari, yung bagong nakabili ng bahay. And then he also mentioned that si Romualdez ang nakabili.
Curly Discaya vehemently denied the allegations against him. According to Discaya, he has supposedly never even entered South Forbes Park and has no involvement in the alleged transaction or the eviction of the witnesses.
Your Honor, gusto ko po sanang ma-identify po muna yung dalawang nagtuturo sa akin kasi kahit ni minsan po, hindi pa po ako nakakapasok sa South Forbes Park. Hindi ko pa nga alam kung anong mga uri ng mga bahay meron doon. So, malabong-malabo po talaga at wala po akong inuutusan na kahit sinong broker.
Senate President Pro Tempore Ping Lacson emphasized that the testimonies of the two witnesses who are under oath are crucial to the hearing as they identified Discaya as the person who named Romualdez as the new owner of the house.
That's your option to deny. What we are establishing here is the fact that there are two witnesses present here under oath na sinasabing nagpunta ka doon at nine-name drop mo, totoo man o hindi, si Speaker Romualdez na siya nagmamay-ari, bagong may-ari noong number 30 Tamarind Street sa South Forbes. Yun lang naman eh.
It can be recalled that in a video message, former Ako Bicol Party List Representative Zaldico stated that by 2024, the houses of then Speaker Martin Romualdez in the South Forbes Park would supposedly no longer be enough to store the alleged kickbacks from the flood control scam. Ko also linked the so-called cash warehouse to an alleged pattern of cash deliveries connected to DPWH flood control projects, which he claimed grew even larger starting from the latter part of last year. Meanwhile, Attorney Ade Fajardo, lawyer and spokesperson of former House Speaker Martin Romualdez, strongly denied reports claiming that the former speaker has alleged links to the Discaya family. According to Fajardo, Romualdez has no knowledge of and no involvement whatsoever in the said transaction. Romualdez camp insisted that the allegations made by the two witnesses are baseless. For God and my beloved Philippines, Angel Pastor, SMNI News.
In his first 100 days as the 7th Ombudsman of the Philippines, Ombudsman Jesus Crispin Remulla vowed that no one will be favored in the pursuit of justice. Almar Frusuelo will give us more details.
Many were surprised when then Department of Justice Secretary Crispin Jesus Remulla stepped down from his post and announced his application to become the country's next ombudsman. When President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. accepted Remulla as the 7th Ombudsman, some welcomed the decision, but many Filipinos expressed opposition to the Chief Executive's move. Last Monday, January 19, 2026, marked Remulla's first 100 days in office as Ombudsman. Following this milestone, the Office of the Ombudsman emphasized that the fight against corruption will continue without bias and favoritism. The Ombudsman added that during his very first week in office, he issued Memorandum Circular No. 3, Series of 2025, which strengthens and ensures lawful public access to the statements of assets, liabilities, and net worth or SALNs of government officials. The measure aims to promote transparency while strictly observing due process. Looking ahead, the Ombudsman vowed to further improve public service delivery through full digitalization, expanded online filing and payment system, and by addressing other institutional concerns. For God and my beloved Philippines, Almar Forsuelo, SMNI News.
Attorney Jimmy Bondoc, a known Duterte ally, is back against the complaint filed against him at the Department of Justice regarding his Facebook post stating Republic of Mindanao coming soon. Because of that single post, he now faces complaints for inciting to sedition and inciting to rebellion. Kai Villan reports.
Attorney Jimmy Bondoc, a prominent Duterte ally, filed his defense at the Department of Justice after the PNP CIDG slapped him with complaints of inciting to sedition and inciting to rebellion. The charges stem from his social media post stating, Republic of Mindanao coming soon. According to Bondoc, he received the complaint on December 26, 2025, and in his counter affidavit, he is requesting that the complaint be dismissed. He argued that it is wrong to accuse him of rebellion, asserting that the post in question is merely an exercise of his freedom of speech.
Alam naman po natin na ang freedom of speech is very valuable, no? At yung mga kasong ganito, while I do respect all of the parties involved, and I want to emphasize that, no, I respect all the parties involved. Trabaho lang yan, no? Pero hindi po pwede na lahat na lang po ng mga maliliit na ungot ng mga taong bayan sa Facebook ay sasampa ng reklamong ganito. Kasi ako po, abogado ako, may kakayahan naman akong sagutin ito. Pero iniisip ko po kahit ako, abogado, naantala ako naabala po ako, no, kahit maliit. Kawawa po yung mga iba na nagbibigay lang ng saloobin.
Bondoc further explained that the call for secession did not originate from him. Rather, his post was merely an acknowledgement of the growing buzz surrounding the creation of a separate republic for Mindanao, a call that he says has long been championed by its residents.
I do not agree that the administration or any administration should be so sensitive as to file cases against little people.
Just for the record, what made you say that?
Because at that time, when there were rallies and apparently parang they were not as effective as had been hoped by the people arranging them, no, organizing them. Lumakas po yung ugong, sila Congressman Barzaga at marami pa pong iba na sunod-sunod nag-post about the possible secession of Mindanao, which is what we know is a centuries-old sentiment, no, of the Southerners, no. So, in-acknowledge ko lang, nasabi ko, alam nyo, dahil dito sa parang nangyayari sa ating bayan, baka lumakas na yung Republic of Mindanao na panawagan na yan.
Bondoc is the sole respondent in the complaint and the charges are now submitted for resolution following the preliminary investigation by the DOJ. Reporting for Newsline World, Kai Villan, SMNI News.
An impeachment complaint has been filed against President Bongbong Marcos Jr. at the House of Representatives. Here are the grounds in this report from MJ Mondiha.
Philippine President Bongbong Marcos is now facing an impeachment case before the Philippine House of Representatives. The grounds include the controversial 60 billion peso fund transfer to PhilHealth, issues of corruption and program items in the 2023 to 2025 national budget, and the allegation of substance use or cocaine use by the president. Earlier, presidential sister and Senator Amy Marcos admitted to the public the alleged drug addict status of her brother, President Marcos Jr. Also included in the grounds is what the complainant described as the kidnapping and surrender of former President Rodrigo Duterte to the International Criminal Court. Also cited as basis is the alleged creation of the President of the Independent Commission for Infrastructure or ICI, meant to protect allies involved in corruption. Private citizen attorney Andre De Jesus filed the impeachment complaint over alleged graft and corruption, culpable violation of the Constitution, and betrayal of public trust. House Deputy Minority Leader and Pusong Pinoy Party List Representative Jeff Nisay endorsed the complaint in the House. The complaint was filed on Monday, January 19th. Meanwhile, for Davao City 1st District Representative Paulo Duterte, the impeachment case against the president is questionable. He said the lawyer who filed the case is allegedly also the lawyer of First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos, and the same lawyer who filed this disbarment case against attorney Glenn Chong. He questioned whether this is a case of conflict of interest or political multitasking by those who filed the complaint. Opposition in the morning, defense of the administration in the afternoon, impeachment with the left hand, disbarment with the right hand, like world-class gymnastics, he said. In a statement, statement, Malacanang said it respects the complaint filed against the president. They also expressed confidence in Congress as a co-equal branch of the executive, saying lawmakers will perform their duties with honesty, integrity, and respect for the rule of law. With that, members of the House Committee on Justice are eyeing to do marathon hearings to check whether the complaint against President Marcos has sufficiency in form and substance. And they're also preparing for the upcoming filing of charges against Vice President Sara Duterte this coming February. Reporting for Newsline World, this has been MJ Mondihar, SMNI News.
Sa panahon ng tag-ulan, hindi lang baha at ulan ang dapat bantayan, kundi pati na rin mga sakit na pwedeng makahawa. At dahil ngayon ay rainy season, nagbabala ang Department of Health laban sa tinatawag na wild diseases. 4 na klase ng sakit na karaniwang nakukuha ng tao tuwing maulan. Ito ang W o waterborne diseases, gaya ng pagdudumi o gastroenteritis. I o influenza-like illnesses, gaya ng sipon, ubo at lagnat. L o leptospirosis, na maaaring makuha mula sa ihi ng mga daga sa baha. At D o dengue, na dala ng mga lamok. Kapag baha, mas mabilis kumalat ang mikrobyo. Kaya't ugaliin ang paghuhugas ng kamay at agad maligo matapos lumusong sa baha. Ano ang dapat gawin para maiwasan ang wild diseases? Tumutok sa weather updates. Magsuot ng kapote at bota. Siguraduhing malinis ang iniinom na tubig. Agad kumonsulta sa health center kung may nararamdamang sintomas. Mainam din gawin ang 40 o ang taob, taktak, tuyo at takip para maiwasan ang dengue sa bahay at komunidad. Maglinis, magmasid, mag-ingat. Labanan ang wild diseases ngayong tag-ulan. Ang paalalang ito ay hatid sa inyo ng SMNI.
The Russian Federation and the Uralchem Group have completed the transfer of 30,000 tons of potash to Bangladesh to boost the country's food security. The donation aimed at supporting the agriculture-based economy was formally handed over in Dhaka this Monday. This report.
A massive shipment of potash fertilizer from Russia has officially arrived in Dhaka, marking a significant step in bilateral cooperation and global food security. The 30,000-ton consignment was donated free of charge by the Uralchem Group and facilitated by the World Food Program. Russian Ambassador Alexander Kozin and Bangladesh Agriculture Advisor Muhammad Jehangir Al-Chowdhury led the handover ceremony alongside WFP officials. The fertilizer, which was previously stored in Latvia, is seen as a critical input for improving soil fertility and helping crops survive extreme weather conditions.
The Russian Federation, together with Uralchem Group, one of the world's major producers and exporters of mineral-rich fertilizers, is handing over a humanitarian shipment of fertilizer to the people of Bangladesh. This initiative reflects our shared understanding that food security is a global responsibility.
Since last 2022, Uralchem has distributed over 200,000 tons of mineral fertilizers to developing nations facing acute hunger. Bangladesh is the 7th country to receive such a donation, joining a list that includes Malawi, Kenya, Nigeria, and Sri Lanka. Agriculture Advisor Chowdhury noted that the supply comes at a vital time as global fertilizer costs continue to pose a major challenge for local farmers.
This donation will contribute substantially to increase the crop yields, improve the soil fertility, and promoting sustainable fertilizer management across the country.
With the WFP overseeing the distribution, the potash will be sent to farming regions across the country to ensure a maximum economic yield for the current planting season.
Sarah Cox, the world's first professional female rugby union referee, has announced her retirement from international officiating after a groundbreaking career, while Kevin Durant has moved into 6th place of the NBA's all-time scoring list. Almar Frusuelo reports.
Exeter-based official Sarah Cox is set to retire after refereeing for over a decade. She became centrally contracted by the Rugby Football Union in 2016 and went on to officiate at 5 Women's Rugby World Cups. Cox refereed 51 international matches, the most by any female referee, with her final appearance coming in New Zealand's World Cup quarter-final win over South Africa at Sandy Park. Cox also took charge at major tournaments including the Six Nations, Commonwealth Games, Women's WXV, and the Olympic Games, refereeing the women's sevens final at the Tokyo Olympics. Despite stepping away from international duty, Cox will continue officiating in Premiership Women's Rugby and Men's Premiership. She was awarded an MBE in the 2023 King's Birthday Honors for services to rugby union. RFU Chief Executive Bill Sweeney praised Cox as a pioneer and an inspiration, saying her career helped open the pathway for women in elite match officiating. Kevin Durant has moved into 6th place on the NBA's all-time scoring list after passing Dirk Nowitzki in Houston's win over New Orleans. The milestone came as the Rockets beat the Pelicans 119-110 with strong contributions from both starters and bench. Durant scored 18 points and passed Hall of Famer Dirk Nowitzki with late free throws, bringing his career to total 31,562 points. He now sits 6th on the NBA's all-time scoring list, trailing Michael Jordan in 5th place. Jabari Smith Jr. led Houston with a season-high 32 points, including a career-high 7 3-pointers, while Alperen Sengun added 21 points and 8 rebounds. Amen Thompson chipped in 20 points as the Rockets claimed their 3rd win in 4 games. For New Orleans, Trey Murphy scored 21 points. Zion Williamson finished with 20 points and 6 rebounds, and Derek Quinn added 15. The Pelicans have now lost 4 of their last 5 games. Durant received a standing ovation after the milestone with a post-game video message from Nowitzki shown on the Jumbotron. Reporting for Newsline World, Almar Frusuelo, SMNI News.
From rejection to runway success, Nadia Abulosh has transformed the fashion industry by proving that confidence and style are not defined by size. Meanwhile, Bridgerton launched its 4th season in Paris Wednesday, promising a Cinderella with a twist storyline. Blake Ann has all the buzz.
Plus-size model and fashion activist Nadia Abhalson continues to reshape the global fashion industry by championing body positivity and inclusive design. She has become one of the most influential voices in inclusive fashion. After being rejected by the Fashion Institute of Technology in 2010, she challenged the so-called elitist beauty standards and carved her own path into industry. Her breakthrough came with a photo shoot for 17 magazine's curvy section, followed by a win in the American Apparel Model Competition. Abhalson went on to model for major publications including Vogue Italia and Cosmopolitan and appeared in campaigns for brands such as Edition L and Boohoo. Abhalson is also into fashion design, debuting a 14-piece Fall 2015 capsule collection at New York Fashion Week. The collection featured minimalist and military-inspired pieces and was sold at Lord & Taylor. Her innovative thigh-high boots, designed for fuller thighs, sold out twice, further proving the demand for inclusive fashion. Abhalson has also collaborated with brands like H&M and Pat McGrath, appeared in body-positive videos such as Everybody is Flawless, and hosted conferences including Create and Cultivate. The hit period drama Bridgerton kicked off the launch of its 4th season in Paris, treating fans to a taste of English elegance in the heart of the French capital. Promoters of the show, often called the most English of TV series, chose the Palais Brongniart in central Paris for the premiere. Hundreds of fans gathered outside, where steps and columns were adorned in the show's signature colors, and a walkway designed like an English garden welcomed the stars. The upcoming season promises a fresh storyline, described by the lead star as Cinderella with a twist. And that's all for now. I'm Blake Ann, bringing you the latest showbiz.
And before we end, may you be inspired with the words of the sun. Start strong, finish strong. Quitting is not an option. And that's all for this edition of Newsline World. For God in my beloved country, the Philippines, I'm Prince Tripoli. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.
This is SMNI News Channel. Truth that matters.